Kia ora, my name is Sabina. I'm the director at this organization called Reach Out. We are a charitable organization, and our main focus is to support people struggling with mental health. At this event, it's about ethnic people, anyone who is ethnic, people from Africa, people from China, people from India, anyone who needs help. We welcome them every time to come to us whenever they are ready. We intend to do more of these events just to bring an awareness to our people that it's okay to look for help. We have heard so many people are losing hope and even turning to suicide, to drugs and all this stuff. And yet they are not supposed to do that. They are welcome to come to us, get the support, get some counseling, get the help. All we do is to walk alongside you and identify your needs and help you as much as we can. So keep your eyes open. We have more of these events coming. Kia ora. Thank you.
Nice to see you. It's my honor to be able to organize this get together or mental health event. I'm so glad we are all gathered here for the second time. We had one sometime in, when was it, June? I can't remember, Jesse, was June, yeah. So we are so blessed to be here, and I give all honor to God because I'm Christian. He has enabled us to do this. And one thing that we all know is coming to New Zealand can be quite a challenge for most of us. We all go through different experiences. I will tell you about my experience, and I will use something that I pinched from Becky's office. So I don't know if she knows I got this. I pinched it from your office. So when I got to New Zealand, this was my experience. Back home I was feeling stable, and if you can tell, this water is kind of stable and nothing is going on, we are all happy. But when I got here, I felt like my life was shaken like that. I went through a lot of different experiences coming here. So I felt like my life was upside down, it was shaken, everything had changed. Can you see through this? No, I couldn't see where I was going or coming or whatever. If I put it down, this is supposed to be still, you guys can't see. But if I were to put it somewhere, it goes still. Oh, thank you. If you're going to watch that one, it can get still, and life settles at some stage. So by coming here, we are trying to say to you, look here guys, sometimes you feel shaken, you feel like I'm the only person going through problems. I felt like that once upon a time, like, oh my gosh, I don't think anyone has experienced what I've gone through. But there are many people out there who are going through what you are going through. So remember, there is help. Don't suffer alone. Many of us are living in a shock. It's like moving into an unknown place, moving into the unknown. We don't have plans sometimes. After the COVID-19, our bottles were shaken again. It's like, oh, I can't go back home. What shall I do? We were all left in this space where we didn't know what to do, where to go, who to talk to. So our aim for these events are to say to you, brothers and sisters, don't be desperate. We have lost people to suicide, ethnic people. We lost a number of someone, we just lost someone in Christchurch about a month or two ago. It wasn't nice, it was the worst experience ever. And some people are still suffering from that trauma, from that experience. So if you are feeling that way, please, don't keep it. Look for help. We are so good at keeping your issues. We won't share with everybody. So this is our aim. I will repeat again. This is our idea to have you guys come here and to work together. You know, we have been taught wrong, togetherness, isn't it? We know sometimes there's this saying in Shona that says, Kusiname api and well. Do we know if some of those people who speak Shona? You know, sometimes it feels like that, but we are here, we are a team. Let's do this together. to thank the people who have made this event happen. Special thanks to our ACCW team. They provided the food that we had. So shall we put our hands together? And to thank people like Jess and people the MCs, I just want to say to you, thank you, Jess and Connie. These are some of the ladies behind the event. It's not Sabina is there. So we just want to say thank you for putting this together. And last but not least, I would want to say a special welcome to our two MPs. Ibrahim Omar and Naisi, did I say it right? Welcome to you. Thank you for coming to speak on this our event. We feel really honored. We don't take it for granted. So can we put our hands together? So let's keep on keeping on. I'm so grateful to you. A big welcome to everybody. And I want you to give yourself a big clap and a pat every day for making it to this place today.
Assalamualaikum, Jambo. Can I first acknowledge Sabine? Where are you? This is the second event that you organized, and this is the second time I'm attending this event. And thank you so much, because this is such a complex topic that we as ethnic people ignore. We love to ignore it. It's a reality, but we don't use it. So it takes a lot of courage as a woman of color as well to pick up this topic and run. It's such a tough topic. So thank you so much on behalf of all of us, including myself. I want to acknowledge my friend in the parliamentary colleague, Macy Chen, and who flew from Auckland just for this event. I myself did flew from Auckland this morning as well, because this is an important topic, and we are very glad to be here with you, to be sharing our thoughts with us. My friend Nuruddin, who just been elected as a local councillor in Wellington, I didn't get a chance to say publicly congratulations because I was away. Well done, you made us proud, and we look forward to your contribution not only to broader Wellington region but also to specifically to our communities. I look forward to work with you. And I want to acknowledge all of you. This is wet, rainy, miserable Saturday, and you drop everything you have, your family, your work, and you are here because you care about this topic, and it affects all of us. There is no exception. So thank you. I just want to touch on mental health has a lot of origins. People can go through a difficult time for many reasons. For us, we come with from such a difficult background. Many of us come as a refugee from refugee camps. We've been forced to leave our homes and everything we love behind. And those of you who come as migrants, skilled migrants looking for a better life, and also you are forced to leave your family back home because you come here to look for a better opportunity because opportunities don't exist in your home country. So it's all the same, and that's one thing. But I'm going to touch on the mental well-being or mental health in the context of workplace, because this is something that we don't also talk about. Bullying in New Zealand is a widespread issue, and I know that some of you might have worked with me as leaders. Actually, I see a work, and I see some faces who worked with me at Victoria University. We did together. I'm talking about 6-7 years ago. It's not that long. And I remember once the whole workforce was about 100 people throughout Victoria University campus. And maybe about more than half of these people were being bullied by one woman who meant to protect and look after us. One woman who was managing the contract. And she was just winding people down. She was making 60, 70 years old women cry like babies. And we all hated the job, but we didn't know how to deal with it. We didn't know this is bullying, and it leads to mental health issue. And finally she wasn't bullying me in person because she knew that I could fight back, I could push back. But she was doing that to vulnerable people. So what I did was, I'm spoken to a few people, and many of them pushed back saying that, no, don't get in trouble. And quite a few agreed with me. So we got about 14 people together. We went to the company head office, and I told them, if you don't do this, if you don't deal with this issue now, we're gonna go to the union, we're gonna go to the university leadership, and we're gonna go to the media. So they came next day. They asked her to sign it. They gave her written warning, and she was okay with that. 2 weeks later, back. Then another 15 people who went to the company office, they ended up getting rid of her because at the end of the day, it was about their contract. So what I'm trying to say is that bullying it's health and safety issue. Bullying can be a harassment. It can be a crime. If we don't deal with it, it leads to other things. It takes you to dark places. You get depressed. You hate your job. You hate your life, especially if you are young and inexperienced. And I don't know how many of us are trying to know what to do if we are having a difficult time in the workplace. I don't know how many of you are trying to know that our unions are out there to protect you, to look after you. In our Employment Relations Act, health and safety issue is clearly stated, and employers have responsibility to respond, to protect you, to look after you. If things go wrong, you can go to the union, you can go to the labor department, you can sue your employer. They are liable. So all these things really that we don't really know much about. I've been trying to work with the AT union to organize some workshops, know your rights workshops, and they still not getting a lot of traction. People not showing any interest to come and learn. But please educate yourself, because employment issue is a very complex area, and we all don't understand. Only employment lawyers can understand it properly. So I'm just getting back from Africa last week, and sometimes we work ourselves to this, and workload is one of the things that led to mental health. On top of the issues that we have, the background that we come from, all the issues that we carry, family that we look after, and then we work hard here, we overwork ourselves. I know that people who do 2, 3, 4 jobs to just meet an end, and that's not okay. I have done it myself. There were times that I've done 4 jobs, and I was an interpreter doing catering, and I was full-time cleaner, full-time housekeeper, and I had a part-time job on side where I go. I do it within half an hour, 3-hour job in half an hour, 15 hours a week. I was doing it more than 100. So I was dying slow days. I was going through these dark things that I couldn't understand. One day I got really sick. I went to the doctor, and he told me, "What do you do?" I told him what. He told me that you keep doing this, and you're not gonna make it 40. You're gonna die. Stop this nonsense. It's crazy. So then I paused. Like, what am I doing to myself? I've asked questions, and I tried to exercise, but until I stopped all these jobs, ended up with one job, I wasn't okay. And that's when I started to look after myself. I could eat good food. I had time to hang out with my friends. I had time to go and exercise. Literally, the difference would be really, really, it was a huge difference for me. And then I got into politics. And this is obviously another area. Politics has its own complexities. It's a 7 days work. As a member of parliament, you are under 24/7 scrutiny by the media, by the public. Any mistake that you can make next day, you're gonna make breaking news, and that's going to crash it down. So you literally you work as someone who's working on the mining field. And because if you're working in the mine field, you have to be careful about your steps, otherwise it's going to blow you up. So that's exactly how, and that comes with another level of pressure. I know that not everyone is going to be a member of parliament, but I'm just saying that because I'm talking about mental health in the context of workplace. And I know that as a country we have a lot of bullying issues. We probably have one of the most sophisticated employment laws in this country. But people still get bullied. People still get overwork themselves. And low wages is one of the issues that people overwork themselves. And that has to change if we're going to talk about the well-being in a broader context. Because if you don't get paid enough for the work that you do, you are forced to do 2-3 jobs. And that comes at the cost of your mental and physical well-being. So that has to change as well. But most importantly to me, community is the most important. When we do things like this, when we speak about the taboo topics such as this, we know that our young people are stuck between two worlds. We are the parents who come from whether Eritrea, Ethiopia, Nigeria, or Zimbabwe, and the kids who born or raised here, and they only know Nizam. And then they go home, it's Africa. They go to school, it's Nizam. So it's stuck between two worlds. So if we don't nurture them, if we don't look after them, and then they're gonna go through dark things. I know in the last few years, go out of the country, quite a few young people who have taken their lives. Within the last, I'm talking about 6-7 years, maybe I know more than 5-6 people. Only Africans, I know. Forget about others. So this is like a pandemic. If we don't do the right thing, if we don't, especially men, we need to speak up. I don't see a lot of men today. 80% of attendees are women today. But this topic affects all of us. We need to man up. We need to speak up. We need to step up. We need to be courageous because it's no shame. I know that mental health, in my country, if you talk about mental health, it's changing someone, chucking them away from the society. And you never see them again, and then they go crazy. Because of that, people, when you say mental health, it's like someone going crazy. That's not the case. So education is key. So it's being you and your team, all you do is education. That day came and joining you guys, I have learned a lot of things. And I look forward to listen and learn today as well because I don't consider myself an expert. I'm just here to encourage, to share stories, but to tell you all that it's okay to go through a difficult time. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be even depressed. But the most important thing is seek help because there is a lot of help out there. As a government, I'm very proud to say that the Labour government has invested a record high investment, $1.9 billion in just mental health. And there is a lot of money, there is a lot of resources out there. But the issue in our communities is that we don't know how to navigate these resources. And that's when we can all come together and support each other and show each other ways of navigating these resources. Resources are out there. So again, thank you for doing this. Please keep doing this, and I will always have my support. I will be always there. I will do whatever it takes to support, because this is personal to me as well. It affects me. It affects as many people like me as well. Thank you so much, Maria. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou.
It's so good to be all of you here, and not always the most sunniest place on earth, but I'm sure there is sunshine amongst us here. It's just great joy to be in this room here this afternoon. Can I please also add my congratulations to you. I've seen your campaign, the whole entire journey, and I just think it's so good that we now get good representation of who we are as a community in our political bodies as well. It's always great to be here with my brother Ibrahim. He is such a strong voice in our Labour caucus, and we, on the topic of friendship, him and I share a very, very special bond. A lot of our journeys are the same, but also the things we care about in politics, the work that we want to see our government get done is so similar that we to sing from the same song sheet, not as well as you do, but very much so. And we are the ones who are able to, have a quiet moment after a busy day and reflect together and support each other through what we can only say is a very challenging journey being in politics. But today I just wanted to share a little bit about my own journey coming to New Zealand and the things that I have learned about myself, but also about my culture and about people like ourselves. I came to New Zealand at the age of 5 years old with my parents, so I call myself technically a 1.5 generation migrant. I'm somewhere in the middle, which, like Ibrahim has said today already, it puts me in the middle of two worlds. Now I can say I've had the best of both worlds, but as I grew up in New Zealand, it became a challenge for me. Especially as I got into politics, people started saying, oh, she's Chinese, therefore she must be working for the CCP. I've been called a spy, I've been called lots of many other names just because of how I look. But at the same time, I'm very connected with my community. My parents speak fluent Mandarin, so I can as well. I still have family back in China, and I'm very proud of my identity and my cultural heritage. I can do calligraphy. I know a lot about the music and our traditional instruments. But at the same time, growing up in New Zealand, I think I have very strong Kiwi values as well. I know how to obviously eat with a knife and fork, but I also know how to use chopsticks. I know how to play netball. In fact, I play for the Parliament team right now. But also I play badminton, and that's probably one of the most ancient sports I can think of right now. And so being able to grow up in two worlds, I didn't always see as advantage. I saw that as something that I had to struggle with, because every time I came home to my parents, I had explained to them what had happened at school, and they never quite understood what I had to face myself as a young child growing up in New Zealand. And even now to this day, I think sometimes I still struggle to explain to my parents all the things that I have to face, especially in my job as an MP. But one of the challenges and one of the, I think the best wisdom one of my colleagues gave me when I first got to this place is that, Nancy, you have the responsibility to tell people about what they need to help you with or what you are struggling with. And that is really one of my first messages to you today, is that lots of times when we're down, when we're stressed out, we expect people just to understand and just to come around us. And some of us are lucky enough to have people like that in our lives. But many of the times, it is also our responsibility just to take that first step, to explain to people what we are facing at the moment and to reach out for help. But also on the flip side, on the other side of that, can I also encourage people, I know we mentioned that we don't have enough brothers in this room today, but can I also ask you to look around you and see who's not in this room sitting here amongst us today? Often those are the people, when we talk about mental health issues, they're the ones that really need our help the most. I still remember the month after I finished my first election in 2017, very unsuccessfully I add. And for the very first time that morning, I didn't have something I had to go to do. And so I laid in bed. And I just was scrolling on my phone until I realised I had hit about 6 o'clock that afternoon. And that I didn't get out of bed that whole entire day. And then I realised, wow, that sense of failure, that sense that I didn't know what to do with myself, but I didn't want to reach out. I didn't want to just say to anyone that this is what I was going through. Until I was very lucky, I too grew up in a church as well, that my pastors in my church called me and said, hey, come to Taiwan. Come stay with us. And they offered me a 6-week period where they could pastor me and mentor me, but also for me to reflect on the journey. But if that hadn't been someone who had proactively called me, got me out of bed, got me out of my slump, I don't know where I would have been today. Many of the times, I think we need, as a community, as an ethnic community, we need to reduce the stigma that is related to mental health. And so I guess I want to share with you guys that many of us, people that you consider maybe perhaps leaders in your community, we all have similar struggles. I often encourage my team, and I'm the first one to always share that I've always had a professional supervisor. That's probably, I think, just the best thing as a counsellor. And every month I meet with her and we talk about mental health and my well-being and how different techniques she has up her sleeve. She's a very good person who can help me with how I cope with my job and the stress in my life as well. And so I encourage all of you to make that a norm in your life, to have someone, whether it's professional, whether it's a friend, to be able to talk about your mental health issues, but that person can keep you accountable. She would always say, hey Nancy, you need to set goals for yourself, for your mental health as well. Have you run today? Because I know running for me is a really big relief. I'm about to go back to Auckland and run the marathon tomorrow. I'm only doing 11 Ks, but she would often say, that's your goal. You need to make sure that you keep up your mental health as if you're achieving things in your career as well. You need to make sure you set goals for your mental health. The other thing that I also wanted to share with you that I've learned along the way as well is about 2 months ago I met with the New Zealand Mental Health Foundation, and they said one of their leading goals in their institution is to turn mental health around into a public health issue rather than a medical issue. Now what we mean by that is COVID-19, we've all gone through it, right? So COVID-19 is what we consider a public health issue, meaning everything that the government has promoted, things like scanning the QR code, wearing a mask, getting your injections, that is all to prevent you or to try and lessen the symptoms of COVID-19. But a medical health issue is that when you have COVID-19, unfortunately, then you need to go to the hospital, the doctors need to give you medication, they need to put you on a respiratory machine. That is the medical health of the side. Too often when we talk about mental health, we talk about the medical side, that once you have depression, once you're having suicidal thoughts, you go to a counsellor, you go to a psychiatrist, you go to a therapist, and try to heal you and they try to make you better. That is very, very important, and we all need to do that. But at the same time, we need to be the cliff. On top of the cliff, we need to be that gate as well. That we need to be promoting mental health and things that are making us healthier mentally, so mental health. We need to make sure that we're healthier in our minds and in our emotions. Things that really make us happy and satisfied with what we do. And some of those things that I think, for me personally, I find extremely helpful. One is physical movement. Like I said before, I run, I go to the gym, I take time off my work to go and do that, and I do that unapologetically. I also go out into nature to do hikes and to do walks with my dog. My dog, I just let her off leash and she runs and runs and runs, and that's the most happiest thing I can see. Her name is Happy actually, because she's a black dog who wants to turn it on its head. One of the other things I think everyone talked about today, and I really want to endorse, is the sense of community. I always have friends around me who I can call over for dinner and I can tell them, no, I don't want to talk about any politics, no matter how bad our government doing or how good, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to talk about funny things, I just want to talk about fashion, whatever, celebrities, the most insignificant things, so that's all I want to talk about tonight. And so being able to have a sense of community and family around you, I think is very important, but that is something that we all need to work on. We need to invest into those relationships around us as well. And the third thing for me has always been making sure that I keep a tidy room. I think often, I know this sounds really insignificant, but often I think my friends have known that to see how messy my room is probably reflects on how well I'm doing mentally at that moment as well. And making sure that I come home to a well-made bed, clothes in my wardrobe that is all lined up, is really something that for me has been helping. And I know there has been research that your surroundings, if you surround yourself by objects, they don't have to be expensive, they don't have to be beautiful, but objects that you really like. So for me, my little guilty secret is shoes. I buy a lot of shoes, but for me, to see them they're not expensive. I also buy op shopping and all of that. But to see something I love in the space that I live in is really, really important. And we really need to curate objects and love them. We don't need a lot, we don't need very new or very expensive, but we need to have objects in our life that really bring us joy as well. And so those are the three things, physical movement, a community of support, and objects around us that really spark us joy. Those are my three things that after 2 years of being in Parliament and 3 years before that of being in politics has really helped me personally. I know a lot of these things do have science, so I'm not here to tell you that I'm an expert. These are my personal reflections on my personal journey that I really want our communities to start talking about. Finally, I want to end on, the reason why I came into politics was because of international student wellbeing and safety. And one of the things that I'm really proud to have picked up again once I got into Parliament is just around international student mental health. During lockdown, I know that lots of them, and I think for me, States, but also those of us who have left our countries to come and study in New Zealand. And during the lockdown, we knew that there was many incidents of mental health and suicide in our communities. But we don't obviously talk about it enough, and also mainstream media doesn't pay us as much attention. And so one of the projects that I started working on with Southern Cross, one of the leading international student healthcare providers, is to make sure that mental health counselling sessions gets included into the international student, their international student insurance as well. And so things like that, we need practical ways to really support our communities, and I'm glad to see Asian Family Services represented here. So being able to have that funding, being able to have places that you can turn to are really important. So I'm also here to listen. If you guys have any other experiences that you want to share with me, I'd be honoured to listen to your story. But also, we need to find ways to support our community as well. Mental health is one of those things I think culture and language plays a really big part in. We want to have counsellors who understand us, who can actually speak our language and who can also know our culture as well. And so that will be something that I will be fighting for in this new healthcare reform that we've already started, but also making sure that our Minister and Te Whatu Ora New Zealand, so Health New Zealand, pays attention to the needs of our communities, no matter who we are, no matter where we are in New Zealand as well. So I'll leave you on a message of hope, and I really look forward to working with your community as well as we embark on this journey. Be well, go well. Thank you, everyone.
Look, there is a law. But like I said, bullying is a huge health and safety issue. It's a risk. It can, and if it's successive, then it can be crime as well. So, health and safety acts in our employment relations law is quite clearly stated, and there is ways that you can do it. You can raise the issue with your employer. First, you just have to stand up for yourself. You know, just approach them and tell them that's not okay. If that doesn't work, well, you obviously have to have a, depending where you work and where you work you do. And to me, look, to always, to keep yourself safe, join the union, depending on your workplace. If you are a public sector employee, the PSA union. If you are working in the private sector, then unions are first union, E2 union. These are the best people to provide you with support. I was a union organizer. I was a member. As a member, I had a lot of support from my union. And then after I graduated from university, I was a union advocate for workers. And often I used to come across one of the worst bullying issues of, mainly the aged care, security, and the cleaning industries. And what we did is that as a union organizer, obviously I have an authority to raise the issue with the employer. If the employer doesn't want to listen, then we take a personal grievance. Personal grievance, if they don't want to settle it, then you go to authorities. And then you go through the mediation. They don't want to listen, then you end up in employment court. These are the most formal ways to deal with it. But before you get there, if you are in the union, first thing you do is first gather the evidence as well, because the employers are it's gonna be your words against their words. They can dispute, they can deny. So always what you do is, if there is an incident of bullying and what happened, a date and time. If you got all the evidence and they can't deny that, because you're gonna confront them. And then go to your union, because your union organizer is gonna need you, the evidence as well. So after that, they can take all the actions they can. But the most important thing is don't be quiet. There are a lot of things you can do. Stand up for yourself, go to your union, and then if you are not a union member, then you can go to the Department of Labor, you can raise the issue, you can take a personal grievance, you can stand up. There is a law in this country. Bullying is not okay, don't be quiet.
First of all, I just say be proud of who you are. Be proud that you come from a culture, that you come from a country that you come from, that we can trace our ancestors to who they are. Lots of those things that I think a lot of my friends, especially those in New Zealand, actually they envy us for what we have, especially a lot of us who have a lot of culture heritage that we can practice and be proud of. But on the other hand, stigma, and especially in the workplace, yes, I mean, by human right, we have the right of being free of discrimination. So people cannot discriminate us based on our skin colour, our gender, our sexual orientation, our religious beliefs. We have the freedom to be who we are, and that is protected in our Bill of Rights in New Zealand, but also on a UN global context as well. But specifically, I think a lot of the times you won't ever, and so I used to be, I had a law degree, I used to practice in employment law as well. Unfortunately, can I be really realistic, that not every time someone is mean to you, that denies you a chance in promotion, whatever, you're going to be able to take them to the court. Yes, exactly do what Abraham said, but not every little thing, the solution is in law. So that's why I do politics. The reason is because if we don't create a positive workplace culture, if we don't create a positive societal movement that celebrates us for who we are, if our other brothers and sisters, whether they're white or Māori or Pacifica, doesn't see our value in who we are and the value we bring to New Zealand, then we will always be in the courts every single day fighting every little battle. And so I think right now we have to be bold enough to tell people what our culture means to us. We also have to tell them what value it adds for them as well, right? And being able to be proud of that, but also being able to say, hey, I know sometimes some of the things I do, you might never have seen. It might be strange and unusual for you, but let me explain to you why I do things that way. For instance, in my culture, probably most Asian cultures, we're very quiet people. When things go wrong, we don't talk about it. But some of my white colleagues think that I'm being reserved or I'm being calculative, like I'm not sharing enough about what has happened. And they think that I just don't like them because I don't share the worst part of the job with them as well. But sometimes that's just who we are. So being able to tell people about it so that they understand, but also we need to work on things that we know our culture is different to New Zealand mainstream culture. And I say this in this way. Every time that where we're fighting for promotions, if we're going to go to manager or something, especially when I'm looking at my own community, I know that a lot of my people are good at their jobs, they're good at their technical skills, but they're not always good at managing people, for instance. As a manager, they might not be able to have that relationship with everyone. So I do think that stigmatization is both within, so in our own side, we tell ourselves we're different, and without as well. So you've chosen New Zealand to be your home, but we need to embrace what New Zealand has as well, but New Zealand also needs to embrace what we have as well. So it's a two-sided affair, yeah.
A really good question. One of the first things that I did when I first came was, when you come from wherever you come from, it's easy to kind of get stuck into your own community, into your own little bubble, and then never leave. And that's not going to get you anywhere. And I observed this from day one. So to me, the first job that I got was, that was my way. It created an opportunity for me to, I didn't know anything about rugby. But I used to go watch All Blacks just to make friends, to meet new people. And I did that lot in rugby. I would have the All Blacks play and I'll be the first person to be. But that's a good way of connecting to people because you have to find the connection. Sometimes it's hard to live on my own bubble. I know that my friends who came with me to New Zealand about 14 years ago, they never left the bubble. They still do the same thing, they the same habits, the same. So we really have to change this way of life. It's to in New Zealand, the best way to get ahead in life is to mingle. Don't change who you are, don't change your culture, but you can embrace New Zealand by integrating yourself successfully. So find the passion, find things that connect you to people. For example, if you are someone who loves Saturday afternoon, go to the pub and mingle with people. You might make 1 or 2 friends. If that's not the case, if you're someone who loves sport, go play sport and make some 2 or 3 friends. And there's hundreds of ways to make friends in New Zealand. I'll tell you what, that's precious. It's helpful. To me, that's what got me through, where I am today, but also through some of the most difficult times because I came here alone by myself with no family member. I still don't have anyone.
but I tell you what, I have hundreds of friends that are who are families to me who out of the country because I strategically stayed out of my bubble, outside of my comfort zone, and start making friends. Those friends today, they would do anything for me. They would campaign if they're running, if I'm sick, when I had COVID. And this is my friends who were dropping me, like one would drop food, breakfast, the other one would drop lunch, the other one dinner. And your friends sometimes can be more than a family to you. So find the things that you love to do. If you are a sports person, go to sports places, make friends. If you are a park person, go to the park. Don't just sit down and get drunk, but talk to people. Be like, put yourself out there, leave your comfort zone, because it's easy to get stuck thinking that I look different from these people. I had a very, very thick accent. I still do, but when I first came back, man, I used to go to just, break things, talk to people, ask questions, ask hard questions. Some of them stupid questions. I wouldn't ask those questions today. But I was new, I didn't know that if you don't learn the hard way, you don't learn. So my tip is put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone, make friends.
Asked a lot of good questions. I probably shared a little bit before already that I think that gap, to be very honest with you, will always be there. My parents will they still don't speak very fluent English. In fact, Ibrahim and my dad the other day, he sat outside with my dad, and my dad probably missed half of what he said, because they still don't speak a lot of English, even though they've been in New Zealand for 20 years. And so I think I should give this Ibrahim's advice just before that as well. But I think, like I said, we have to make sure, first of all, as the younger generation, we have to understand where our parents have come from. And for me, that's understanding that my dad was a surgeon in China, actually my mum was as well. They were both doctors, gave up high, status, not very good pay, but high status jobs to come to New Zealand to start from zero. And for that, I am internally grateful for the sacrifices they made so that I can have the happiest childhood. Honestly, it had so hard. I had the happiest childhood here in New Zealand. And so being able to understand that and coming from a place where I know that for them it will be very hard to try and understand a new education system, a new culture system, being able to like the things I like, for instance rugby, or being able to like the things that I like, for instance orchestral music. They will never get there, but that's okay. And you just always remember that they love you no matter what, and you love them back as well no matter what. And that's the most important thing I think you can ever do, to remember that. Can I just share a little bit more about my relationship with my parents? Ever since I've come into politics, and I think it'll be the same with you, when you guys have a professional job, there'll be many things that your parents won't understand. They just haven't been there, they haven't gone through it, they might not read the newspaper. Often I get very fed up, I'll be like, what did you do this week? I'm like, my face is all over the front line asking me what I did this week. But you just have to have the patience and the grace to be able to tell them and include them. I tell them to come down to Parliament. I try twice every year. They don't understand anything, but I tell them to sit up in the gallery and watch me debate. They will not know what I'm saying, but I make them sit there and do it anyway. And they know they have to do it. So at least they have something to say they've seen it. So try and include them, force them into your lives. No matter how much you expect them to understand, don't worry about it. And another thing I just want to say, one last thing, all my white children, all my white friends, they had amazing relationships with their parents. They could call their parents by their first names and tell them, they'll watch the same TV shows, be able to talk about the same thing. They had the same culture. But beautiful, a lot of my white friends, as they started growing older, some of their parents didn't pay for their houses. There's always other sides. Some of them got into huge fights with their parents, and some of their parents, they didn't like the new partner their parents were. So what I'm trying to say is that you may think other people's relationship with their parents are perfect, but once you grow up, you realize every single parent and child relationship has their own difficulties. You just have to invest time. Actually, one of the things I found really moving is that Abraham had to go all the way to Africa to visit his parents, and that's something that whenever he tells me that story, I sit back and go, okay, I just have to drive from Pakuranga to North Shore. It's only 45 minutes. I used to complain all the time about that 45 minutes. And ever since I listened to Abraham's story, I stopped complaining. Because I think, we just have to be thankful for what we have, who we have as our family. We don't get to choose, but we can make sure that it gets better every day. Well, look, I haven't raised any children, but I'm a child of people, so that's I think, yeah, some really key things that I would say is a lot of it is the gaps of knowledge or understanding between children and their parents about their cultures. So one thing that I've noticed is the idea that, for our parents, they moved to migrated to New Zealand when they're in their 40s or younger. But they would have had 40 years of being immersed, for my family who were from Zimbabwe, so they would have been immersed 40 years of being in Zimbabwean culture, in Zimbabwean community, and understanding who they are and where they come from for 40 years. And then they moved to New Zealand, and then for your children, for me, I came when I was 9 years old, so I only have 9 years experience of what it means to be Zimbabwean and what it is to be in my Zimbabwean culture for only 9 years. So when we are engaging and talking to each other, their expectations of our culture and say, Pada, you should be doing this, because that's our culture. I only know 9-year-old culture of our culture. So there's obviously a lot of gap in understanding between us of what your cultural understanding is and what my cultural understanding is. So what I encourage is about bridging gaps with having to be very intentional with your children to say, this is where we come from, this is what we do. And now with technology, things have developed. So, even you go on YouTube and you say, a vlog for when I went to South Sudan, and someone will see, they will make a video, they will share with their children about, where they went, all the different things. You can look on Google Maps, you can see where your old village used to be. So things like that to include your children to understand and see where they're from, to develop their knowledge. And then as they develop their knowledge, they will then develop their pride in understanding their culture. And also just something, even as I see today with our South Sudanese group and our Lao group, that it's intergenerational sharing and learning. So there were younger people who were doing the dances as well. There were a bit older people who were doing the dances. That is a beautiful way for children to have pride in their culture. And I was like, where's that Zimbabwean dance? I can't dance. So that's but to your community, I want to say, very well, very good that you were able to do this and bring your children and share it with your younger generations, because that's how it starts. When they go to their school and people say, oh, where do you come from? You look a bit different. I know that, they can say they're from South Sudan, this is our culture, this is our dance, this is what we do. And for our family, I'm learning a lot about where I come from, my parents instilling in me, you're not just from anyhow, anyone to where you know what you are. I can tell people who I am and where I come from. And so sharing with your children, if you can take them to wherever you are. I've been to Zimbabwe, I went in 2019. It was the most comforting experience I've ever had, You really get to see those places, you get to meet those people. And so if that's something that you're able to do, share that knowledge and share the experience of also taking them there as well.
It's a good one. I think the first thing to say is that, it's not that long ago in New Zealand, the kids were allowed to be whacked, belted, whatever. And there are still Kiwis struggling with not being able to do that. So, as newcomers, where that might have been part of your culture, that you're not alone in this. Pākehā Kiwis like myself and Māori Kiwis, they're going through the same thing, Pacifica as well. I think the discipline thing is about trust, and it's about, we're no longer allowed to smack. It is against the law in New Zealand, and I do know people that have ended up on home detention for belting their children, so don't do it. But it's about thinking of other ways. I think the key thing is you have got the cultural divide going on, so you have to weigh up what are the important things you need to focus on. Don't sweat the small stuff. If there's little stuff that doesn't matter, don't go there. Reward your children. So it's that whole reward children for positive behaviour. They will give you more of that positive behaviour. And then of course you still need to put them in timeouts when you sit them in a corner and allow them to engage with you or anyone else. Devices for our kids these days, devices, taking them off them is one of the best forms of discipline you can use. Don't use food for rewards and things like that, otherwise it can become a health issue. So yeah, I think it's just praise them and reward them for really good behaviour, often, constantly. Don't sweat the small stuff, and just understand you're not alone. If you need to discipline, put them in the corner, take away a device. And talk to your children about what you think they've done wrong, because the same things are coming up here. We've got different cultures going on for a lot of our kids. Some people call them third culture kids because they're stuck between two different cultures. What they're seeing and doing may be what they're learning in another culture. So have a conversation with your kids first and foremost and explain why it doesn't suit them, but be open-minded and think about whether it is what they're saying to you, why they're doing this. Is it really important that you reinforce your cultural way of being in this instance? I'm not saying don't give up on your culture, I'll go into that soon because it's very important, but just think about weighing up and balancing out whether it is something you need to discipline them over.
Thank you very much. I will try to be very brief. The question is some of the mental challenges that people do face when they move to New Zealand. I don't want to generalize. I want to give my personal experience. I've just written a book and soon it will be published. So I can do that in a minute. So I will go back to my research I did in 2018 when I did my PhD. It was to do with African communities, the challenges that African communities face in New Zealand when it comes to employment issues. Like MP Abraham, my brother, he was touched on some of those issues. That research came up with 10 specific issues in terms of challenges. And all those 10 were actually resulting in some of the mental health issues. For example, racism and discrimination, it's a huge issue that we do face, not only in New Zealand. I also looked at other countries, Canada, UK, USA, where Africans were domiciled. Racism and discrimination is a very, very big issue, especially when it comes to employment. For example, before I came to New Zealand, I was an executive back home. Life was good, I was earning a lot of money. We had people who were working for us. And when I came here to New Zealand, just like my brother Abraham here, my first job was a toilet cleaner. It was very humbling, and once upon a time you are there, and suddenly you are there. So if you don't have any strategies to cope, you can actually break down mentally. So racism and discrimination is one form. And employment, our kids at school, they do face racism and discrimination. Our members of the community, they sometimes face racism and discrimination. Oh, can I touch your hair? Your skin, all those kind of things. So in a nutshell, racism and discrimination is one issue. I don't want to go deeper because there is a notion of race in terms of what is race and what is the skin color. I don't want to get there, I don't want to be too academic. So the other problem was basically English language as a barrier in terms of communication, especially for brothers and sisters with a refugee background. That's a big issue. In the community, you can communicate at work, you can't communicate, kids at school, who just came straight from a refugee camp, English, it's a struggle, it's a big issue. Then the other issue was also to do with the non-recognition of overseas qualifications and experience. For example, when I was doing my research, I met some people who were on the verge of falling on the cliff in terms of mental issues. A guy was a motorman in Africa, with Toyota cars from Japan. Suddenly when they came to New Zealand, they were hired as motormechanics, but they were asked to clean the workshops, A Toyota car is a Toyota car with Africa and New Zealand, the gearbox is the same thing. So it was really a big issue to say, why cannot overseas qualifications and experience be recognized in New Zealand? So people were missing out. Then the other issue that was also raised again, for example, in the workplace, was called employment conditions. There were actually 3 of them. The first one was underemployment. People who are highly qualified, doctors and accountants, becoming tax drivers, For example, when I came here, I was an executive secretary, I was a toilet cleaner. So it was a waste of knowledge. And they go around and say, in New Zealand, we experience manpower shortages. That's a lie. There are people there who are capable, who can work, but they are not just, they are not employed. The other reason under employment conditions was underemployment, whereby people, a qualified accountant is given work to work as a clerk. That's a waste of resources. Someone who is highly qualified given a low job that is monotonous, boring. And the third thing under those conditions was basically lack of promotion, which we call glass ceiling, whereby you can see what is happening beyond the ceiling. Other guys are enjoying, they're having a big party, they're enjoying themselves. And here, you are the underdog, they're doing the work for them, but cannot enjoy the benefit. So the last thing that really causes a little breakdown also is called cultural issues and religious issues. That was the last one. We have seen what's happening in Iran at the moment. They have attacked, and that led to the 22-year-old. I'm very happy that what is happening in that country. There is a revolution, what is happening. So there is a lot of issues to do with cultural issues, to do with religion, whatever. So if we are not very careful, or if we are not very careful as members of the community, these are the challenges that we do face. And if we don't seek help, we can actually get many of breakdowns. So I think I better end here. Thank you.
你们好，안녕하세요. Namaste, konnichiwa. My name is Hong. I will explain why I'm here today. Because maybe some of you feel a little bit weird why Sabina invites an Asian lady here, because I remember the first time I met Sabina in a meeting, we are the only two persons who raised awareness of the importance of our ethnic community's mental health. So, I'm very happy to be here today, and I think I'm spiritually an African people, because I really enjoy your music, your dance. I follow every move that you guys, so I really enjoy that. And I also have been able to talk to some ladies in the room. Please be proud of yourself. We are very, very brave to leave our home country, to keep our company, to keep our family company, to move to New Zealand. It's a new land for all of us. Not only for our ladies, but also for our gentlemen. Please be proud of ourselves. We are very, very brave. But the other hand, we have to admit a lot of challenges we are experiencing and facing every day. So the question is how we can manage our depression and anxiety. So first, I would say every emotion is good emotion. So no matter you are happy or you are worried or you feel anxious, it's all good. Because these sort of things are protecting us. They come to our mind, to our brain to protect us. So tell yourself it is okay to feel bad. And then I will say accept we are experiencing some tough times. We are experiencing some difficulties. It is okay. So accept every emotion that you may face in the future. And the third one, I read something here. And the third one is find a way to help yourselves. Because the reason why we come to New Zealand because we have a dream. We want to, live a better life for ourselves and for our families, for our children. So please do help and support yourself. So firstly, you can, if you feel comfortable to talk to your friends, your families about your difficulties, please do so. Speak out to the person, to the people you trust. The second way, please do some exercise. The first one is breathing exercise to let yourself calm when you become, you will think things differently. You will say, oh, very, very positive thought will come out. And also, I think Nancy just mentioned do some physical activities. It is very a good way to, enhance our mental well-being. And the last one and the most important one, please be mindful to seek professional support when you need that. It is okay to seek help from professionals, and all of our professionals are helping our community, are helping you, and we understand our culture, we understand what challenges you are facing, because we have, we have the same experiences. Yeah, we all faces a lot of challenges every day, so we totally understand you. And also, I wanted to emphasize that all the counseling services in New Zealand is confidential. So you don't need to worry that your story will be shared in your community. No, never. Every single word you talk to your counselor will be fully protected. So, yeah, that's all I want to share with you today. And I have a store at the back, so if you want to talk to me more, please welcome. Yeah, thank you.
So I guess part of my growing up was I came here when I was just 16 years old. So from Zimbabwe. So in Zimbabwe, right? It was the same. Still now there is the same in Shona, but I'm trying to see if I can translate it in English. And they usually say, I can't be one Yakaka, which means he was bewitched or he was bewitched by someone who is dead. So growing up, definitely that was the idea that I also had. That for some aunties, I remember from one of my aunties that every other time whenever she wanted to say something, just had to shout, and today she's getting told so. And we used to say, oh, maybe someone from your village say something to her. Until I came here and I was exposed to different ways of thinking about thoughts, just studying in theory was in practical way. That's when my eyes started being open to say, because we live in a society where you go to work, stressors of life, other people, you are even born in a family where depression, mental health is seen from one generation to another. And others, they've got trauma as well. Not only trauma when we talk about maybe others is maybe being abused as a child or anything else, but even just the moving from one country to another, fleeing from violence or anything, from wars or from anything, that on its own is traumatic. So based on all of that, because we are in Africa where we are not really exposed to many things, there was not much of that knowledge. So people were saying, yeah, we are kids. And up to now, some people, they do believe that you are kids. But no, this is what we are trying to say. Again, the whole purpose of us even trying to reach out to an organization, these communities, we are saying it's not a curse. It's something that happens. And it's okay to not be okay. And you are human beings, so we don't expect you to be fully functioning 24/7. You have days that are down days. And for me, the biggest thing that's here in these 2 years is in the COVID itself. COVID alone has made it impossible for people to still function the same. So now, my answer to the question is saying it's not a curse. It's something that happens on a daily basis. It's really normal days, some days that are very down days, but the most important thing is to seek help. Thank you.
I'll be very quick with that question. If you come to us, be assured it's going to be confidential. We don't share anything to anybody. It's against our ethics, so we won't do that. But what I want to say is, if any of you brothers or sisters, they come and share or confide in you, please do your best to keep the issues to yourself. Because imagine if I go to my sister, thinking, oh, I'm going to get some help, please help me, I'm experiencing this and this and that. And then I hear that same thing coming from another person, maybe in Auckland or in Christchurch, I won't feel good. So please be trustworthy. If anyone shares with you, destroying somebody, and it's not okay. So let's keep it in our hearts, keep it in there, and be helpful. Thank you.
No, I would. So you're a young person wanting to learn how to deal with your mental. Well, I think that recognizing that there is mental health challenges is like the first step to understand that it's not something that only you are going through. So there's a lot. Just because a lot of people don't speak about it doesn't mean it's something that is not real. So just say, acknowledging for yourself to say, I'm going through a challenge, and like first recognizing that, and then seeking help and seeking support. So it can be very intimidating to maybe go to a counselor or to reach out and call a stranger to talk about your problems. But sometimes I would encourage us to get very trusted friends to say, can you come with me, maybe a first session, to say, I want to go with my friends so that we can go together, understand what this counseling is about, and to reach out in that way. But also just finding ways to do healthy habits that help you, understanding if you're looking at things to deal with alcohol and drugs that don't always give you positive results. So every action is a consequence. So looking at maybe other positive behaviors that you can utilize that are not alcohol, that are not drugs in order to support yourself. So whether it's, spending time with your friends, spending time with your family, things like that support you, but also getting professional help and professional support, because our parents are not always the people who understand the things that we're going through. So it's okay to reach out to other professionals who are qualified to support you. So I'll just say those things of looking for healthy support.
So, firstly, please accept your family members and friends are experiencing difficulties. They might behave differently, so please accept that. If they behave differently, it doesn't mean they change. It means they are facing some challenges. They need your help. And still, please always remember that whatever they do during their tough times, they are still your family members and friends. You still love them, and they still love you. Their brain, their mind, just be affected by different emotions. And secondly, please let them know that they are not alone. You are always here to help them. And also, please let them know it is okay to feel bad. Everybody will like wither, up and down every day. And there's a very concerning issue, we call it smiling depression. So smiling depression means we can behave very normal in the daytime, but in nighttime I want to cry. I just cannot stop crying, and I just cannot stop crying myself. I could not sleep in nighttime. But when a new day comes, they might behave normally again. It is very concerning. So please be mindful. Please be careful. Please be look at your family members, your friends, your children, your mother, your father, your cousins, your brothers, sisters. Please beware. If they behave differently, please ask them, how can I help? How could I support you? Please do not judge them. Non-judgmental, just support them. They say that they only need from us if, they want us to listen to them, what is happening to them. And we will, work together to find a way to solve, to find a way to, go out from the darkness. So also I basically the answers from my last question is saying, please know that we have limited support. We are limited because we are not professional. We're not mental health professionals, so sometimes know your limit. We always want to support our family members as much as we can. We can do our best to support them, but sometimes we have limitation. So please be aware of that. Please, seek professional support. Linguistically, not only linguistically, but also, culturally appropriate support. It is very important, I think, And also, open a talk or discussion with the family members who are experiencing mental issues. It is not always easy. It's very difficult, right? It's a hard one. So if you are going to support anyone who is experiencing mental health issues, please be proud of yourself. You are heroes. Yeah, we can be the heroes. Thank you.
Basic ones, but there are many other things people can do. For starters, for those that go to work, number one, learn to leave work at work. Don't carry work to home. That is a big no-no. Secondly, I say find a new hobby. It might be something you haven't tried before, something you did before, but something that you do enjoy that is a bit of a destructive mechanism. And then talk to somebody. Maybe you are a bit scared to start off talking to a counselor, but find a trusted somebody you start to talk to, because people say a problem shared is half solved. So at times that is quite important. So those are the three main things. And for me personally, I find music and driving is what I really do the most. So when I hit my dark days, I get into my car, I put my volume on blast, and I'm driving to nowhere. So that's how I do it.
I think I'm going to bang on about something that has been banged on about for a bit here, and particularly with our youth and our kids. Who am I is the core thing that they're trying to work through as they're teenagers, so with our children. The biggest thing to help them do that, my daughter, her dad was African, I'm obviously Pakeha, so she had these two cultures going on in her life. And I think it's really important to make your children super proud of who they are. Their mother culture, their mother language, your food, your clothing. Make your kids proud of that. Make your kids want to share that at their schools, at their primary schools, their high schools, and with their community. With the dance, like the Sudanese community did today, these kids are proud of their culture, and that will go a long way towards helping them with mental health. Family time, really important. Just sitting down and chatting at dinner time. A lot of people don't do that anymore, but it gives you a chance to be a family and to talk. And my daughter said to me, she's 17 now, and I said to her, I'm going to be speaking at this thing, and she said, Mum, the best thing you did for me was you listened. She said, I know it was hard, but you didn't always have an answer. You didn't always talk over me. You listened and then said, is there anything I can do? All she needed was me to listen when she was feeling down. And that's it.
Jake is saying, I'll punish people. There is a migraine, I'll be deported. That's a very good question. How do we manage the issue of racism as a migrant? Is that correct? Or the refugee, whatever. Discrimination. There are many forms of discrimination. There is racial discrimination. There is ethnic discrimination, whereby ethnic people discriminate themselves. We call that racism, where people think, maybe with the Pakias, or with the Maoris, or with the Africans, and the Asians probably at the bottom. It is called racism. And they also have discrimination within ethnic communities, discrimination within Zimbabwean communities themselves, that comes tribal from the same country. So the issue of, there are so many forms of discrimination. So in terms of dealing with any form of discrimination, I think we need to be very intentional and very strategic. Don't allow anyone to trample over you just or to walk over you. For example, I have refused, even from back home in the year, to be discriminated. I speak up. If I'm not happy, I don't care who you are, whether the chief executive, you're the manager, and the boss. I tell you the truth, but in love, you know. You need to be very strategic. Because if you're arrogant, you get fired and you become jobless, you know. So you need to be very strategic. Don't just keep quiet. They'll just use you as a football. So we need to be very, very strategic about it to say, no, hang on, I don't like this. I remember when I was working in one of the cafes as a cleaner, there was one guy, I think was originally from Papua Guinea, and the owner of the cafe was from Cyprus, and he used to call me Mugabe when he heard that I was coming from Zimbabwe. And I came to this country because I came as a professional migrant, but I was running away from the Mugabe administration. So I hated the Mugabe administration with a passion. And there was a guy who was calling me Mugabe. I said to him, man, can you stop it? I told him in front of his boss, and then he repeated it. And the boss said, no, it's already so. This guy just told he doesn't like it. I told him off. So I think we need to be very, to put our foot down. But in that process, we don't have to be arrogant. We need to be very professional. If we do that, they will never cross your path. So for me, I've been in New Zealand for almost 20 years now, and I've worked in many organizations as a cleaner, as a manager, whatever. So people don't use me as a football. If I'm there, they have to change their topics and whatever, because never ever tolerate any nonsense. But I want to emphasize, don't be arrogant, because if you are arrogant, you further discriminate yourself, you further alienate yourself, because we are migrants, we are refugees, whatever. So be who you are and what you are, and just be very strategic about it. Thank you.
One-on-one opportunities at work, or even just networks, to take people out of coffee dates, where you sit down and register your interest. To say, I'm really interested in this role, when does it come open? Because I've seen that most roles, when they come open within organizations, there is already people who register their interest. So when you are overlooked, you think, oh, they are really, discriminating against me. But it's not really that. It's only that you can register your interest. Also, you have to have those conversations with your boss to say, what can I work for? Do I need to show my skills with regards to strategy, with regards to just communication, and you begin to network that way. And when you do that, whenever these roles come open, there are people who are thinking about you and to offer you those opportunities. That's what I just wanted to say. Yeah.
In terms of what we want to see in the future regarding this program done by Outreach, Outreach is a very unique organization started by an African and an ethnic person. So these are the people who understand issues that do affect ethnic people. In other words, there is what we call phenomenological experience or approach, whereby people are talking based on lived experiences. So this is very, very unique and a very good project or initiative, whereby people from the ethnic background are addressing issues that do affect ethnic people. So in my view, I'm very, very hopeful that this program will go far and beyond to help our marginalized communities.